Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down. All right, welcome to the final episode of PodCATS for the year 2024-2025. This is our annual tradition to bring on our retirees, and this year we just have one. He wanted to go out all by himself, and we're welcomed by Coach Hess. Coach Hess, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks. You know, Coach Burgess, I've always been kind of a diva, so for me, you know, being the only one,
on brand
spotlight is on me. You know, it's very fitting. No, I'm kidding. But happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
So how's it feel? How's it officially feel? I mean, you want to talk a little bit about what your plans are after this? You're kind of retired from public education, but you're moving on.
Yeah,
also
so
for a few more years.
To answer the first part, I a month ago, no big deal. 2 weeks ago, still felt fine. The last 2 weeks have been kind of just very surreal, weird in a way, especially when I started breaking down my room, sifting through old drawers and things, finding like pay stubs for the young kids. That's used to get paychecks and also direct deposit, but like from 2003. So definitely older than the kids that we have coming in the West now. And one of my drawers, I found 75 Buckeyes. Now, as a Michigan fan, I know.
Ooh, I don't like that. I hope you burn those.
Now I'm getting old, so I had to try to figure out why do I have all these Buckeyes in here, you know, and I could not remember. So I don't know if
was it a decal for the helmets when you were coaching?
No, these were just actual.
No, the actual Buckeyes.
Actual Buckeyes.
Okay, not the like Buckeye
decals.
decals.
The real, you know. So I don't know if I was going to give it to because depending on who you talk to, Coach, right? They're supposed to be good luck. And but I don't know why I had so many in the drawers.
Do deers eat Buckeyes?
They can.
I mean, maybe someone, I don't know.
Yeah, that is a mystery that we may never know the answer to.
Well, if you figure it out, we would love to have you back on so we can, because I'm sure all our listeners are going to end listening to this episode and be like, what's the deal with the Buckeyes? I want to know. So
the Buckeye mystery hopefully will be solved at some point. Yeah. So I am not really retiring. My situation is my wife has 3 years. She works at country companies. And so I was told one thing, I can't be on the couch when she leaves for work. So it was either full-time driver's ed. I thought about working at the airport for free flights. You know, I had different things that came along, but ended up I got a position teaching world and U.S. history at Central Catholic, and that's where I went to school, and it kind of just worked out that way. And so I've had a lot of students, you know, ask, well, why don't you just keep teaching here? And I'm trying to explain the retirement
but it's
process.
Not very smart.
And then why would you choose Central? And then I have to tell them I went there. It's kind of completing the circle. But
so we should have just done the podcast much earlier,
right?
And then just tell them listen to the podcast, and you'll.
Then we'll know, right? But that's been a question. Like, why? Well,
that's
if you're going to teach, why don't you just keep teaching?
So I got to ask then: are you going to also coach over there? Or are you going to continue to coach here? What's the plan?
My plan with that is I'm going to coach one more year here. I'm the defensive coordinator, so I want to transition that to Coach Thornton and kind of just be here to make that process smooth. And then I will coach. My plan is to teach and coach at Central for 3 years. And so for the next 2, I'll coach over there. And then when my wife retires, then we'll make a decision. It might be after a week full time with me, she'll tell me to go back out and coach, but no.
So normally we start off, we've kind of done it a little backwards. We found out what you're doing next, but a lot of times we start these off with finding out kind of what your road was in education. And I know Normal West was not your first stop.
No.
So why don't you remind us or teach the audience maybe that doesn't know a lot about Coach Darren Hess?
Well, yeah. So that process, now I know I'm talking to the business department, but when I graduated high school, all I knew is I wanted to play football. And so I went to Quincy College, and my best friend was a business major, okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'll get a business degree. That's where all the cool kids are doing. And I took
clearly.
Yeah, of course, by company, right?
Yeah.
And I took my first microeconomic course, and it just seemed like Latin to me. I'm like, this is not my cup of tea. This is going to hurt, right? So, and then I was just thinking, like, okay, well, what can I do? My mom was an elementary school teacher. I'm thinking in my mind, there's not a lot of male elementary school teachers. So, and there's a lot of pretty girls in these classes. And so I'm just thinking like a freshman in college.
Now you're talking about the college classes.
Yes.
So you're at what college? Quincy?
Quincy
So you're
College,
like, all right, we got some
let's clarify that.
Cute education majors at Quincy College.
Right. And, maybe a better chance of getting a job. And so played 4 years at Quincy, was a grad assistant there, and then came back home. And my first job was a 5th grade teaching position at a Catholic school called Holy Trinity. And then I moved from that elementary to Tri-Valley Elementary and taught 4th grade for 7 years.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. And so...
well, that's where you first coached, right?
I coached at Central first.
Okay.
And Central Catholic was my first, GA at Quincy College. And then first high school job was O-line, D-line at Central Catholic. And then I went to Leroy and coached there for 3 years, was the D-line coach and linebacker coach at Leroy, D coordinator. And then from Leroy, I went to Eureka College and coached linebackers there. And then I was the head coach at Hayworth. We're talking football-wise. So when I got done with Hayworth, I started teaching at Chittix Junior High, 7th grade, for 3 years. And then was the D coordinator at, I don't mean to, at Normal Community. I was the D coordinator there. And then in 2003, I got this position. So, yeah, so I was kind of all over the place. I've been a lot of places.
I don't think I knew that. I don't think
I taught elementary for 7, junior high for 3, and then high school the last 22.
And coached, have several opportunities to coach at different places.
Different places, yeah.
And so how did that work with your certification? Were you just certified K through 12 from the beginning?
Well, I was K through 8.
Okay.
And then it was a lot easier. I mean, I'm a little older, Coach, right? So it was a lot easier when I wanted to. I had enough history classes that all I had to do was I had to take one, I think, over the summer, and then they would let you test.
Okay.
And then I, tested out, and look at me, I'm here now. So
okay. All right.
So for me, it was about opportunity. I kept moving up in grades because, I was just, an assistant at lower levels, and I became a varsity coach, and then became a coordinator, and then obviously had the opportunity to come to West. And
it's what we call a long and winding road.
Yes.
And it's not over.
No.
And there's another stop, which is awesome. Almost the opposite of me. I've been here ever since my very first job, including student teaching. So there's obviously a lot of different ways to go about making a difference, which you have clearly done. Just, for those people who are watching that haven't been here the last several years or this year or been to any of our assemblies, people, students, faculty, they appreciate what you bring, the positive energy. I know for one, I was actually just thinking about this as I was walking up here. There's John Beerbaum has a lot of energy, right? And there's some people that just have that inherent energy and bring that pretty much every day. and you are one of those. I wish that I had that same energy. I don't know where you get it from, but it's definitely noticed and appreciated, and it will be missed at our school.
Well, I appreciate that. For me, it's always been about the relationships, and like, to be honest, guys, I mean, I'm a lot of time I'm more of an introverted person. Like, I don't like big crowds, but there's something about like assemblies and the student body that kind of fuels me a little bit. So at first it was not easy. I just, as a head coach here for 15 years, assemblies were kind of handled differently. Like, so, athletes would come and talk about goals. And we do see a little bit of that. But then head coaches would come up and talk. And so it was just kind of how our high school culture was, where coaches would lead chants and drills, and players, we did the same. We kind of lead the crowd in that. So I kind of just carried that to West, and so I just want the kids to enjoy their experience. So, but for me, it's more about the relationships, them seeing their teachers outside the normal role, and so I try to make football fun, classroom fun, and you got to have energy to do that. And I don't have a problem looking at myself. Like, I'm pretty humble. Like, I can laugh at myself, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yep.
So
that's important.
Hopefully it's more laughter but I think the kids appreciate that. Yeah. And so hopefully I was able to bring that to our students and make their experience at West and the culture at West a little better in my 22 years here.
Love it. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this. Okay. On the topic of assemblies.
Yeah.
Can you tell me where "Let Me See You Get Down" came from? I don't know if that's what it's called. What do you actually call that? Let me see you get down. Get down.
Get down. I think it's get down cheer.
Where did you come up with that?
Well,
did you see that somewhere?
This is something that now maybe Mr. Francis.
I feel like that's been around.
That's been around like
a while.
Now I know Pontiac was. Yeah. You guys were a little more sheltered. We were. All right, from where Coach Burgess was, but that was this. That's 70s and 80s kind of cheer, like pushing back, shoving back, way back kind of cheer.
That was just before my time, I guess.
Yeah, it was. So, and Mr. France, you probably right. You probably heard that cheer before.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
So I did not invent that myself.
I thought it was your invention.
No,
I think we should change Wikipedia though. Yeah. So it says.
Is it on there now? Yeah.
It should be.
Okay.
If it's not, it should be.
So no, it's like anything good. You beg, steal, and borrow, right? You just kind of, but I wanted to make something that Wes could identify with, and so I think the other thing, like kind of off the record, like we were black and orange, and I know April had a big part in this too, but our season was before hers, right? So we were the first kind of to go black and silver, and then I think,
everyone else started to follow suit.
Yeah, just to give ourselves an identity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because normal community had been around for, hundreds of years before us, and I just didn't like to have the same color scheme, even though they were orange and black, and we're black and orange. I just thought that was always silly.
Totally.
And try to get, and then the cat head kind of has developed over time, and
definitely had a few renditions of that.
Yeah,
which is fine.
But it's kind of neat to see that transition. And when just to get back to why I came to West, I mean, Bobby Monroe was the AD here. We had a good relationship when I was at Normal, and I was just young and looking for that opportunity. I thought there's no way in heck I hadn't. I had 1 year of head coaching experience at a really small school at Hayward. I'm like, this is a bigger school. There's no way. And she saw something in me and gave me that chance. And, the East Side are pretty set in their ways. And they were like, why would you leave here to go to a place like Normal West? And, what I saw, even though I was on a different sideline, is that you guys, like West had the athletes. They just needed a change in culture. And so I thought that was an excellent opportunity, and Bobby Monroe gave me that. And then we first year was a little rough. We went 2-7. No, and then the next year we had that kind of got rid of some of the bad apples, and we had a really good young core, and we won conference the next year. And I think that really gave
Shout out Tyler Swearingen.
Yeah,
one of my good friends.
Yeah, Tyler Swearingen was part of that, and but it took just a group of guys believing, and we're tired of just listening to the other side of town, right? And so, so hopefully now, we're not perfect with Normal, but I think we brought a lot of respect to our sports program here over time, and I'm not the only one that has done that. We have great coaches here at West, and but it was kind of Bobby Monroe's vision, and her giving me the opportunity, and so I'm really thankful that she did, because I just love West and what we are and our culture and what we've accomplished, and so I'm happy.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. This is my last question. I don't know if you have any further questions, but pretty difficult probably to do. But what is your favorite Normal West memory?
That was what I was going to ask you, actually. Also.
Perfect.
Well, football-wise, so people may be like, "What are you talking about, Coach Hess?" When I first got here, Normal Community was really good, but the most dominant team in this area was Bloomington, and they had a 93-game home regular season win streak. And so that second year, the year that we came out and kind of shocked the world, we beat Bloomington it was their homecoming. A lot of people scheduled West for homecoming, but we beat them at their homecoming and ended that 93-game win streak.
That's cool.
And so, it's like one of those moments, like they had never beaten Bloomington before. And so for us to do that, I think they had beaten Normal a couple of years prior to me getting there, but that was rare. And then we beat Bloomington and Normal that same year and ended up winning conference. And you feel pretty good about yourself, right? You can run for mayor now, Coach Hess, and then the next every season's kind of different, and then reality kind of hits you. But no, that's kind of my favorite memory is just that upset. In school, favorite memories are just the relationships I built with not only my department but the whole West teaching staff. The fact that we can laugh at each other, and I just remember. Like this one stands out is just I'm getting evaluated at the high school, first year teaching high school, and Tracy Freeman, who was the head of our department, Tom Eater is the principal, and he's the one doing my evaluation. He's in the back of my classroom, and I'm trying to be serious. I got everything in my ducks in a row, and then all of a sudden the door flies open, and Tracy Freeman rolls a bowling ball into my classroom, and
I've not heard that story.
Oh yeah, and so and so you just those moments where you think it's the most important thing, but kind of puts it in perspective, and the fact that I think Tom Eater laughed about it more than I did. You know what I mean? And so I think this is a place where students can grow and feel warm and welcomed, and I think from a faculty staff standpoint, I think it's a definite great place to grow as a teacher. I remember my first day pulling up into the student lot, and I don't know where to park. I'm like, okay. I get out and I see all these kids around. I'm like, this is weird. And then I just remember Steve Minnis coming up and just putting his arm around me. He's like, no, your lot is over there. So, had to move. And so
I miss that guy just being around.
Mr. France and Coach Burgess, the reason I park in front now, I don't know if you never noticed, my Gladiator is always out in the student line.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
It's kind of the 22-year full cycle. So I started there by mistake. And
Now you got to end there.
Cool.
Now I'm back at it. So
I love it. So along those lines, we do this with a lot of our guests. We did this with the 4 principals who came on earlier.
Okay.
And we came up with, the 8 best traditions I think that we have here, and we had them vote. So I mean, you're don't let them sway your vote.
You don't have
up
to
here.
go chalk,
But
if you don't want to.
What would be your favorite tradition that we have here at West? And even if there's another one that we're not even thinking of, you're welcome to add that in.
all right. So what's my plan here? Do I pick?
Well, just pick one that maybe sticks out that you think is
the
our
clap
best
out's got to
tradition.
be the most recent.
Yeah,
for
you just
got
partake.
clapped out.
Yeah. That was happy and sad all at once. So I probably won't go with that. I tell you, there are 2 that stand out to me. Well, there are 3. I mean, your business department March Madness Food Fest is second to none.
As someone who likes food,
I mean, I haven't missed too many meals, so.
Well, you're always welcome to come back, by the way. You
Okay.
can,
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd probably give you a holy day of obligation
Well,
over there at Central Catholic.
I get 2 or 3 days like that. The first thing that comes to mind, though, that I think sets West apart is West Fest.
Yeah.
The fact that, now it used to be longer, but everything kind of shortens up. But the fact that kids can have a day of fun and do what they want to do, and the variety of activities that they can be involved in. And it's funny, they always like, oh, West Fest. You know what I mean? But once you're in it,
Yeah.
I mean, because I have F&P, and so I tell those freshmen, like, listen, it may sound corny, but you got to.
Like, I'd just rather go home, and then they end up participating in some of the stuff, and you can tell they're having a good time.
Yeah.
So I think that really helped stands West apart from a lot of different high schools. I mean, that nobody ever has done it as close as that. And I mean, there are great traditions here. I think the senior brick really is cool to kind of reflect.
And especially you're down
names
there.
And so you guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but Coach Hess is getting Coach Hess's corner above 114.
Oh, nice.
Now,
well deserved.
The good news is I'm not paying it. I got
some artists
Dr.
doing it for
Beerbaum's
you.
got some trained professionals. So, I like to tell all the West listeners out there, in the next August, just come by and hopefully,
is it going to be kind of like
have a Coach Hess feel?
The Notre Dame, the Notre Dame, what is the Notre Dame?
Oh, the
Touchdown Jesus?
No, the thing they hit.
Oh, play like a champion.
Play like a champion. No, it's pretty high, so you got to be pretty tall to touch. But hopefully, they think of happy thoughts.
Yeah,
got it.
When they see that, and there's some. I don't want to ruin any surprises, but there's some things on there that remind you of me.
Okay,
you know what I mean, and so
I'm excited.
So hopefully, now I haven't seen the finished product either, but on paper it looks pretty good.
Okay, yeah, love it.
All right, so we're going to hold you down. You got to choose one.
Oh, that's hard.
That's
hard. I mean, what? Why are you guys putting me through this?
It's supposed to be hard.
I'm about to put you on the spot again here too.
I'm going to say West Fest.
Okay.
Yep.
I love it.
We should be marking that down.
Yeah, we should. All right.
Today's PodCATS sponsor is Select Screen Prints. Select Screen Prints has been in partnership with Normal West for over 25 years, providing quality Wildcat apparel at an affordable price. Choose Select Screen Prints for all of your custom t-shirt, sweatshirt, and apparel needs. They now offer digital printing, which allows for fast turnaround and excellent quality at prices that are less expensive than most online apparel companies. Select Screen Prints is the choice in Bloomington Normal area and beyond. Check them out for your next apparel order.
All right, well, Coach, it's been a pleasure. I know for me personally, I learned a lot from you, being on the coaching staff, and just being around you. You've been a joy to be around, and you've made a huge impact, I know, on thousands of students that have come through here. So you will be missed. Well,
I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teachers here, just try to make it better when you came, and so hopefully I've done a little of that, but never get too big on yourself, right? Learn to laugh and love and be a part of something, bigger than yourself. And I think Normal West is a great place to do that. So guys, thank you for having me on.
Of course.
Well said.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.